Part of what we were talking about, the lines of golf, like when you stand on a tee and you look down the golf hole, this is such a natural site. It's such a natural setting for golf. And to us, when we look out there and you see the moundy shaping on the right hand side of the golf hole, it looks foreign. It doesn't look natural. It doesn't look like it should be there. So part of the plan is actually taking some of these golf features back down, actually integrating back into the topography that's here as much as anything. Again, the bunkering on the golf hole is so short for the average member here, and we don't want that member having to hit that recovery shot where the bunkers are today. So a lot of the plan is opening up play space in the short areas of the golf holes for those members, pushing the hazards further down the golf hole. Again, in 1974, persimmon woods, balata balls, these probably were properly positioned or relatively close, and the game's changed obviously quite a bit in that time frame. So if you look at the contour on the left-hand side of the golf hole, the left-hand bunker pushes much further down on the inside line and kind of protects the inside line of the golf hole. The right-hand bunker where it sits today goes away. That contouring comes down, but we shape bunkering in kind of over the top of the ridge. It collects shots before they leave the golf course and they go down into the arroyo. So we love when members walk up to a spot and it's a question, am I in play or not in play? And it's a happy accident as opposed to, oh crap, I got to drop a golf ball, right? So keeping balls in play and allowing the members to still play golf as opposed to having to go back in their bag is a big component on this golf hole. Obviously up at the green complex, and we'll kind of zip by this as we go, but the bunker that's short left of the green today, well short left of the green today, again, really has no impact on the better players. They're looking at the distance into the pin and flighting the ball that way, but it has an inordinate impact, again, on the members that need that play space. When we stand in the landing area and we look into the green complex, there's some beautiful homes out here, but we would rather not see them. We can plant an oak tree right where that bunker is today and actually screen the homes out, looking into the green complex, and take that space and use it to better effect to create more beauty on the golf course and make it more playable. So those are the things that we look at from a design detail standpoint. Again, it's not about making it harder and it's not about making it easier, it's making it better overall, and all those components in our opinion make it better. So there's a lot of tight play spaces here at North Ranch, obviously, right? And a lot of it's driven by the oak trees to some extent, but some of it's kind of driven a little bit by the land plan and how the golf course was initially laid out. Again, here's a bunker that is extremely short right on a golf hole that has an inordinate effect on the members that you would, again, rather not have and provide play space for them. So the thought is to take that sand away and lower that ground and give the members more landing area on the right-hand side. If you look at the space of this golf hole and you look at the setback to the homes to the left and you look at the setback of the homes to the right, the sand needs to be over there, not over here. And our intent is to come in and create a bunker on the left-hand side of the golf hole, once again, that will collect shots before they go down into the arroyo, but at the same time, provide a little bit of a deterrent on the left-hand side of the golf hole because there is so much more play space on the right-hand side. Obviously, the oak tree has to stay, but that pine tree is probably one that would be up for discussion. Again, as Clyde mentioned, trees compete for resources, and every tree that's on this property, you guys spend money maintaining, and you spend money maintaining what the tree does to the surrounding turf grass as well. So it's not a matter, we love trees, and it's not just come out here and obviously clear cut. We can't do that in Thousand Oaks, California, or Westlake Village, but it's being responsible as far as the tree stock that you guys have in managing your forest. And there's certainly some tree management that would be to best effect for you guys long term. And that's really the consideration. Again, what we do from a play space standpoint, what we do from a maintenance standpoint, and where these are positioned on the golf holes with all the surrounding infrastructure as well. So.
What about up the green complex there?
Yeah, so there's not a lot of room at the green complex. But what we want to try to do right now, if your average member is looking at the shot, there is a very small window on the left-hand side in order to play a shot in there. We're going to take the sand that comes across the center line of the green and actually shift it further to the right, create a wider opening. Again, better players on this golf hole, they're looking over that bunker. Obviously, it's in the way, it's a hazard, but they don't need that play space. They don't need to run their ball through the throat. There's a lot of members that do. So if we can keep the front of the green a little bit more open and actually bracket it with sand on both sides, but open that throat up, hopefully, one, we catch more shots before they leave, again, on either side, but we make it an easier approach shot for the members that need it, and hopefully create more of a challenge for the members that are actually flighting their ball in there. So, and again, when I say that we spend as much time thinking about the forward tee player as we do the back tee player, and every actually, tee set in between, it's a fail if we don't. Because every single component of the membership is represented by these tee blocks, and we have to think about how they play the game and what they're being presented with. Many times members, as we go through this, the tours feel, in Monterey Peninsula Country Club, the better players are like, guys, you're gonna make this course so easy, right? The average score went up 4 shots for the better players, and the average score went down 4 shots for the average member. It was an absolute home run for the club because that's exactly what they needed. We're always very, I want to say hesitant, but whenever we add a cross hazard into a golf hole, we understand the potential difficulty that that creates for the membership. And if we're going to do it, we really want to make sure that it has a great effect on what we're trying to achieve from the standpoint of playing that golf hole, either from a an aesthetic standpoint, from a strategic standpoint, or whatever that may be. Again, we're not trying to make the golf course harder, and we're not trying to make it easier. And overall, the balance of what we do, hopefully, again, the members enjoy it much in the way that they enjoy it today, but just much improved from a golf detail standpoint. But this also has a functional component as well. Obviously, this is where a lot of runoff comes through the property from the higher elevation surrounding, and something needs to be done here. So we're trying to actually marry a functional component of what needs to occur to a design component as well. Reestablishing the arroyo, having that cross the golf hole, have the fairway cut off, bunker on the right-hand side that'll actually help support some of these grades that all fall so strongly from the left to the right. Many times, again, we use hazards, we use contour to keep balls in play. In this instance, the bunker will help support shots that are hit to the left of it and keep them more in the center of the golf hole as opposed to rolling off to the right-hand side. The bunker that's on the left today, again, almost just ancillary to the design. We like strategic bunkers. Strategic bunkers create angles, they create carry points. Penal bunkers simply deviate from the center line of the golf hole, and the further you go off the center line, the more you're punished. Robert Trent Jones Sr., who was the father of modern architecture in America, that's how he designed courses. Essentially, the further you went afield from the center of the fairway, the more you were punished. And golf did that for many, many years. When the first list came out in 1966, George Pepper, America's 100 golf courses, it wasn't America's 100 greatest, it was America's 100 toughest golf courses. And you think about that, 1960s, 1970s, early 1980s, many of the toughest golf courses in America were constructed during that timeline because people wanted to get on that list. And that really kind of fed into the designers at that point in time. Pete Dye started in the 1970s, right? And that's why there were so many Pete Dye courses. They were so hard. Difficulty is good for the right member. Playability is important for an average membership, absolutely. Again, we don't try to design penal golf. We try to design engaging golf and interesting golf. In this instance, bringing this arroyo across is going to make it a much more interesting golf hole. We know for some members, it may make it just a little bit more difficult, but if we get them on the right set of tees and get them in a position where they can actually clear it on their second shot, then we've done our job.
You keep this natural slope here as well in the design?
Yeah, so the bunker is going to be carved in, I think, just a little bit forward of where we're standing. And what that'll help do, it'll help us support and flatten the fairway a little bit so that shots in will have a little bit more play space on the left-hand side with that bunker going away. Today, you can hit a shot up the center line of the golf hole, and as you advance up here, it'll peel off on the right-hand side. We want to reward a good shot. We want to make sure that that shot stays in the fairway, and then you have a good approach angle into the green.
Yeah. And the screen stays where it's at?
Roughly speaking, yes. It's actually going to slide a little bit to the left where it is today. We're going to get it away from the oak tree. Again, as Clyde mentioned, trees compete for resources. So if we can slide that away and actually lower it just a little bit, it'll work well with the arroyo elevation and what we want to do left of the green as well. So again, this is a functional need of the golf course and maintaining the golf course, creating additional water storage. From a pure design standpoint, the reason that we would maybe love to see this go away is because we have a pond that's really kind of elevated with a dam on the backside with a wash that kind of runs underneath it, right? And anytime we have elevated water in golf, it doesn't necessarily fit the natural scene as much as it can. In this case, though, the way that we correct that is the scale that we create with this. So bringing the lake actually around into the space, again, the cart path is not going to be here anymore. The cart path that remains is going to be on the left-hand side of the golf hole, and this pond is going to come and actually encompass what would be the right-hand side of number 7 green as well. So it'll be probably, I think it's 2.5 or 3 times the size that it is today. It'll actually come into play a little bit more on number 6 than it does today. But we want to make sure that the way that we shape this in, we don't want to promote balls running into the lake, and we can do that with how we shape contour, where we take water. Balls are always going to fall where water goes, so we'll be able to shape up this side a little bit, again, support shots that are running up against it, and hopefully they stop just short as opposed to going in. But getting the scale of the pond right helps both golf holes, and it also, again, helps the water storage that you guys need from your well system as well. And so, again, there's times where things that we would like to potentially do from a design standpoint have to take a back seat because there's a greater need. And in this case, the greater need is the storage for you guys. But this will be great. We're not concerned that any member is going to stand up here and say, gosh, it should have been this or it should have been that. Hopefully, when it's all said and done, it'll still be a great par 3. So again, using the existing land that's here to best effect, if there ever was a bank or a slope that was calling out for a set of bunkers here at North Ranch, that left-hand side above where the fairway line is today, it's ready-made. Obviously, from a visibility standpoint, being able to turn the golf hole, fitting in the design characteristics as much as possible, working with the land and what you guys have is what we're trying to do. I think as much as this is a redesign, obviously, of all the design details of the golf course, it's still going to be really comfortable for the membership because a lot of it's going to be very familiar because we're not reordering the entire world out here. Quite frankly, we can't because of the trees. There's a lot of limitations that come here in this part of the country. But what we can do, again, is utilize what's here to best effect. So bank of bunkers on the left-hand side of the golf hole, creating some different strategies, different angle points coming into the green, setting bunkers that create a decision point. And again, play North Ranch today. If you hit it up the center line of the golf hole, which if you can do that, that's great. But you really don't have to think your way around the golf course a whole lot, right? If we can start to move the golf holes, and relatively speaking, even though the trees move the golf hole, this is a relatively straight golf hole line of flight, right? So if we can create more angles, if we can create more movement, if we can create bunkers and place hazards in a way that help you move your way through the golf hole and create angles within a straight golf hole, again, that's better golf to us. Straight holes, Robert Trent Jones Sr. again would say the two hardest shots in golf are a straight shot followed by a straight shot. We love to move golf holes. We love to be able to give you the opportunity to shape shots and actually work the golf ball. We still create enough play space up the center line of the golf hole because we know that's important, but we also offset that when we create stronger angles with additional play space where needed. So, I think when 8 is all said and done, it's a great opportunity. And we also think about the other par 5s as well. We always look about the par 3s and the par 5s as sets of golf holes, the par 4s as well. But what are we doing and how are we creating differentiation, different character within the par 5s, within the par 3s to make sure that we're not creating repetition? I will say this, for many years, you guys have a wonderful event here for golf course superintendents called the Duff Shaw. And every year that I come and play it, I just grab an 8-iron and I go to the tee because I know on every par 3 I'm hitting an 8-iron that day. It's not going to change a whole lot, right? So as much as we can vary distance, as much as we can vary green size, as much as we can vary hole placement, again, just to create greater character and greater differentiation in the golf design, that's really the point. And again, the setting here and the bones are so great. It is sitting here ready to come out of the ground, and we can see it. And it's really, again, palpable to us. And that's our level of excitement. That's why we're here, because we think there's something great to be had here for the membership, quite frankly.